Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We don't want you playing here. Can you move positions? Do something else. He starts the season like 0 for 150, it felt like, and finally finds himself in a groove at the plate, hitting 272. 15 home runs on the season? Now he's shipped to San Francisco.
What is management going to do? Nobody who's paying you $313.5 million is going to hear anything from you. They'll figure out a way to get rid of you, and that's exactly what they did.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say, yeah, I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome in. This is FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. My name's Matt Strager. His name's Joe Pisapia, and this is the place just for those that want to dominate. If you're not interested in that, you can enjoy it, but it's not so much for you. Season-long fantasy, DFS, straight-up wagering, whatever it is, we've got you covered. At SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. Those are our social media handles. I'm just kidding. This show is for absolutely everyone, but if you like padding your pockets, a little bit more for you. Joey P, a man with padded pockets indeed. That's why when he sits down, he gets taller. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen, but the author of the Fantasy Black Book, a successful flag football coach, a successful father, a successful friend, and a great, great, great member of this network and show. Joey P, my man, what's up?
It's good to see you back and running again. I don't like being alone without you that much. I mean, I can do it, but it's the only time I get to hear myself talk because I have 2 teenage daughters, so that's pretty much it. Like, this show, when Matt's internet has struggle bus, that's when I get to be just kind of heard. It almost becomes uncomfortable. It's like I'm still talking out loud, and no one is telling me to stop talking or to I don't know what I'm talking about or any of that kind of stuff. So don't worry, you'll get there someday, Matt. You have a daughter.
Well, I have a wife.
Someday,
I have a daughter, but I have a wife. My daughter's 3, but my wife is not. So, okay. Anyway, 3 up and 3 down. See what we did there? The 3. I
can feel her cutting the cord of your internet right now as we speak. Just like, oh yeah,
exactly. Oh, that's not the cord of the internet he's cutting.
Well, What a segue to 3 up and 3 down. Let's go. 3 up and 3 down. The players are having the best week ever and the worst week ever. Let's start with the ups. Let's start with Ronald Acuna, who's been absolutely just brilliant since he's come back. I mean, let's talk about the last 7 days for Acuna, but we can talk about the whole stretch here. 2 home runs, 3 RBI, 9 runs scored in the last week. He's hitting .471 over that span, 651 OBP, an 882 slugging, a 1536 OPS. I mean, just absolutely stunning numbers. He equates for a quarter of the Braves' runs scored since his return. Just want to put that in perspective for you a little bit. I mean, it tells you kind of where the Braves have been, I think, in the last, how should I say, for 2025? Let's just say that. But if you really think about, like, Ronald Acuna right now in the last 30 days is leading all of Major League Baseball in runs scored in the last 30 days. He has 27 runs scored. Him and Ellie De La Cruz are at the top right now, followed by Junior Caminero. Ironically, I have all three of them in my home league on my dynasty team, but
Good for you.
that's neither here nor there. It's been a good
team
month.
is called the Runs.
Back in the ring. I know. It's called the Runs, baby. But, people were concerned, well, will Ronald Acuna be okay? Is he going to be a slow? He ain't starting slow. He is picking up right there. Now, the one thing people will say in the fantasy space is, well, he's only got 2 stolen bases. Well, it's 2 and 2 attempts. I think once we start to get into July, he starts to run a little bit more. By the time we get to August, do I think he's going to get 30 stolen bases this year now? No. Can he break 20? Maybe. It's not impossible, especially if the Braves need him to. And I think we could be in a need situation. So Ronald Acuna has been absolutely brilliant over the last week, Matt. The last month, the last week, it's been a Ronald Acuna show.
Yeah, it's good to have him back in baseball for the health of baseball overall. But that stat about Ronald Acuna accounting for a quarter of the runs of the Braves and currently leading runs scored in that time frame, it brings me to like a bettor's tip that I once learned. So you're going to look at Acuna's runs scored prop for a game, and then you look at the Braves team total for a game. If you can find any kind of lapse in correlation there, boom, you jump in, because we're seeing consistency, and that's what we're looking for come here in June. We're not wagering on the unknowns and things like that. Now we're starting to look for the consistency. What do you have next here? Because this is about a Washington National that, full disclosure, Sam Y, the sports guy, our esteemed producer, huge Nats fan, rightfully so. This is a fun and exciting team. Joey P, a Mets fan, the two things, cats and dogs, oil and water. But James Wood, you got to give him his flowers right now, Joe.
Oh, yeah. I love James Wood. And I loved him in his ADP this year. I thought it was an absolute steal. Well, that's all right. Who does? Jake is a Phillies fan, too. So we almost cover the entire Eastern division here in Major League Baseball, the National League here on this show, just representation-wise. We don't have any Marlins guys. Oh, I guess we got Mish on Fantasy Sports today. I don't know if he's a Marlins fan necessarily. He just has to work for the Marlins. I think that's more it. But when you're talking about James Wood, kind of like that conversation I had earlier about Pete Crow Armstrong, which is you've already got your return on investment. He's already given you, I think, exactly what you want out of James Wood. So everything else is now bonus time as you go forward in the season. So James Wood over his last 7 days has 4 homers, 11 RBI, 6 runs scored. He's hitting over 300 with an OPS over 1,300 over that span. He has been absolutely brilliant. The Nats been more competitive of late, luckily. But over the last 30 days, he's got 9 home runs and 24 RBI. He's only hitting 255, but the 935 OPS is what you want here. And the thing about James Wood to keep in mind, too, in these dynasty keeper league scenarios, Matt, is that there's still weight to put on that frame. He is going to get bigger and stronger over the next couple of years. And that's something that I think the Eastern Division is going to be basically lamenting, I think, as we go forward, because James Wood is a very special talent, and I think he's going to have a bright future for the Nationals. And look, the Nationals know how to identify talent, whether it's Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, James Wood. It's holding that talent. Holding it. I come back to that Seinfeld bit
Take
about
the reservation, but you didn't hold the reservation.
Draft the player. I'm good at drafting the player. I'm good at trading for the player. It's the holding of the player. The holding is the key to the Nationals. Sorry, Sam. But that's just a
you talk about the future and how bright you're talking about the NL East. There is a future scenario where we will have a high stakes situation where James Wood will be in the box and Spencer Strider will be on the mound. Talk about Spencer Strider and what he's done over the last week, because Spencer Strider goes hand in hand with the Braves' success. We talked about their chances of making the playoffs, Joe.
He's back, baby. He is back. And I will tell everybody, this is why you watch Fantasy Sports Today, right? We talked about this on the show, that although Spencer Strider had been struggling, he had a start coming up against the Colorado Rockies and then a big start coming up against the Mets, right? Where we're like, okay, this is the time where Spencer Strider starts to get hot, right? 13 strikeout performance against the Rockies. That's pretty damn good. You see the fastball velo getting up to 98 now, 99 now, right? He's a leg drive pitcher, and he had a hamstring issue. Can we all just calm the hell down for 2 seconds and give this guy a couple starts to get under? If you saw Braves Twitter light up when he was getting lit up, you would think he's the worst pitcher. He's just a thrower. He can't do anything. Shut up. Be patient. How dare you? How dare you sully the name of Spencer Strider? Look at the last 2 games, 21 strikeouts and 2 walks, about the most dominant pitcher in baseball. I hate it. And you know what? The Atlanta Twitter should be ashamed of themselves. The Braves Twitter base, terrible. Now, not everything's been good. Walker Buehler's been terrible the last 7 games. He's got an ERA of 21 over those last 2 games with a WHIP of 3.6. He's got 2 strikeouts, 2 and 4 walks. He might have one more start before he gets DFA'd. I'm telling you right now, the Walker Buehler experiment, unfortunately, is over. Brenton Doyle has had a rough season, man. I thought there might be some regression, but it has hit hard. Brenton Doyle, last 7 games, 9 strikeouts, hitting .067 on the year with a 225 OPS coming into the weekend. And O'Neal Cruz, Matt, you talked about it before the show today. Last 7 days, 7 strikeouts, 136 batting average, a 310 OPS. He just doesn't seem like a guy who's very engaged. And I know the Pirates are bad, but O'Neal Cruz is not helping.
No, not at all. And he wears it on his face. You know, it's funny. My wife tells me, fix your face. She says that a lot. I go, what do you mean? I feel fine. She goes, yeah, but it doesn't look like it, you know, and it's off-putting. But O'Neal Cruz is wearing his heart on his sleeve. It just doesn't look like he's excited to be there. Maybe he doesn't like the color yellow, but either way, it's a shame because this is a really exciting player. And as a manager that spent draft capital on him, I've been reaping the benefits. In isolation, O'Neal Cruz has been having a good season. But overall, it just looks like he's starting to check out. Maybe it might be time to trade him. I don't know. Joe?
Oh my God, I don't know. Oh, fix your face. That's tough right there. What do you just turn around and say, I can't, honey. I'm just handsome all the time. This is just me.
Ooh,
this is
write that down
steel,
as
baby.
we go to break. I'm going to practice that delivery too. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't.
Let me know how that works.
I'm just handsome all the time.
Pretty good. Pretty good. We'll be right back with more practice.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We don't want you playing here. Can you move positions? Do something else. He starts the season like 0 for 150, it felt like, and finally finds himself in a groove at the plate, hitting .272. 15 home runs on the season? Now he's shipped to San Francisco.
What is management going to do? Nobody who's paying you $313.5 million is going to hear anything from you. They'll figure out a way to get rid of you, and that's exactly what they did.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today. My name is Matt Stryker. His name is Joe Pisapia. And folks, when I'm the adult in the room, there's problems. And now our problems are your solutions. Let's go to some two-start pitchers here because I think this is a valuable segment, all ha-ha aside, and we'll have fun with it, all right? It's edutainment. But the two-start pitcher, as we go on and on into these hot summer months and we look at how teams are starting to really find themselves, this is rough, Joe, because runs are up, and we're still under this heat dome for 2/3 of the country. Runs are going to be up this week. Totals are going to be up. So how do we find pitchers that can help mitigate that problem? Let's start in Minnesota, and I don't see it. Bailey Ober, while a good pitcher, up and down, up and down. He has Brian Wu in Seattle, and then he's at Casey Mize in Detroit. Unless I need to, I'm not touching this, but let's hear from you.
Absolutely no. I mean,
right.
No. Why? Why would you do this to yourself? Wu's pitched very well. Tigers are in first place for a reason. And Bailey Ober's just falling apart. Here's the last 7 games for Bailey Ober. Okay. You can maybe rethink that statement of he's a good pitcher, just up and down. I think it's been a little down. Last 7 games, he's 0-3 with an ERA 5.80. 5.80 over his last 7 starts. 35 innings. He's given up 23 earned runs in those 35 innings, 38 hits, just 25 strikeouts too. The strikeout rate is down. 12 walks over that span. His whip is at 1.40. You can't touch Bailey Ober. I don't think. I don't care if he's got 2 starts. I don't care if he's got 5 starts this week. There's no way I'm putting him in my rotation. Now, it's difficult because I think some people want to rage drop him right now. And I understand if you're in a shallow league, okay, do it. Rage drop away, pick somebody else off the waiver wire. But right now in those 12-team mixers or even more, you're kind of holding and benching him and just hoping it turns around. I don't think there's an injury here. It's just the wheels have come off here for Bailey Ober, and at the worst time where they needed more people to step up into this rotation, right? You needed somebody like Bailey Ober in that stead of Pablo Lopez to step up and be great, and it's been the opposite ever since. So it's a hard pass. It's a hard no. I don't know if I would feel good about starting him against the Marlins and the Pirates this week if those were the 2 starts. But a hard no for me, a hard pass. On to the next one.
All right, here we go. Let's traverse the world and go to the Taj Mahal. It's Taj Bradley for the upstart Tampa Rays. 2 road starts, one at Kansas City against the Bubala, Chris Bubich, and then the next at Baltimore against decided to be announced, TBA, our favorite pitcher. I'm going to do this here because I think Tampa's playing really well and Bradley is a part of it. And I just like the makeup of this team. Diaz at the top is just infectious. So I would start Taj Bradley in both of these road starts. Joe?
Starting against our Bubala. That's a lot. That's a big expectation here. Bubala has been really good. Kansas City lineup, not so good. Now the hope is you get Jack Caglione continue to heat up a little bit. He's still hitting balls hard everywhere. And that's the thing. Like, you look at the baseball savant page for Caglione, he's just hitting balls hard everywhere. Yeah. So it was only a matter of time when they started going out of the ballpark. But with Bradley, this is another one where I struggle. And I'm going to say no to this one as well. And here's why. The last 7 games for Taj Bradley, he's 1-3 with a 5.94 ERA. It's worse than Bailey Ober. Now, the strikeouts are better. He's still got 38 strikeouts and 15 walks and 33 innings, so you still like the strikeout rate, so that's fine. But that whip is at 1.47, and I think there's a certain point where you have to wonder, is Joe Boyle going to get a shot here, or Ian Seymour going to get a shot? Littell has been better than you could have possibly imagined. Same with Rasmussen. Pepio has been brilliant over the last 6 weeks. He's really started to take up those strikeouts. Shane Baz has found himself again, which is great. So they've got 4 very good starters, and then Taj Bradley, who – I'm starting to wonder if Taj Bradley's a guy that just needs a change of scenery. My cohort on Fantasy Pros, the Welsh said, I feel like Taj Bradley's going to be one of these guys that figures it out when he's like 27, 28 years old. And we go, oh, look, there's Taj Bradley. We always thought could be that guy. But so far, it's just not clicking. I don't know if he needs a change of scenery. I don't know what he needs, but it's not working for him at the big league level. I know Baltimore is really tempting, especially that start. If I had daily transactions, maybe I would throw him against Baltimore and see what I get. But I don't know. Against Bubich, it just seems like a really tough luck situation for him. I'm going to pass on this one. So we're split on Taj Bradley. I just haven't seen enough of the last 7 games to feel confident.
All right, fair enough. Let's see if I can entice you with this. The Milwaukee Brewers, you and I agree that they have a great young pitching staff ahead of them. 2 really nice matchups versus Pittsburgh to be announced, and then versus Colorado, German Marquez. Would you start Chad Patrick for 2-start week?
Yeah, I think I do. And Chad Patrick's been pretty solid this year. He's got a 3.5 ERA on the season in 15 starts. He only has a 3-7 record, which isn't fair considering the ERA is at 3.5 and the whip is at 1.28. It's pretty, good league average kind of guy here. He is not nearly as exciting as Jacob Mizorowski or Logan Henderson or any of those young pitchers that they have coming through this system. But Patrick has been pretty solid. And I think these matchups are such that you've got to throw anybody you've got against the Rockies. And the Pittsburgh Pirates instead just seem like a team that's quitting. It just seems like a team folding up the tents right now. And that's going to have an impact on the Paul Skeens Cy Young race. I know everyone thinks Paul Skeens is like a done deal, but did some research on it. You know, you've never had a pitcher with less than 10 wins win a Cy Young. And the two that had 10 wins were relievers. It was Eric Gagne, and here's a blast from the past. You ready for this name? Willie Hernandez of the Tigers back in the 80s.
Yeah, sure. Willie Hernandez.
Yep. So, again, you're in a spot here where maybe Paul Skeens is not a foregone conclusion about how good he's pitched. Maybe you're going to get somebody else get into that conversation. Wheeler, I know Sale was that guy for me, but now he's hurt, so that's probably it. I'm just saying, let's not hand out all the hardware quite yet for everybody at this point in the season.
With the time that we have left, another two-star pitcher from the Cubs is Ben Brown at Sonny Gray and then at Ryan Gusto. So at St. Louis, at Houston. I don't know the time of day of these games, but I know that matters for Ben Brown. Joe?
I do know the time of day. And I'm starting them in both. You know why? Because it's at night. It's a night owl. Again, these are the weirdest splits ever, especially for a guy who plays where he plays. There's going to be so many day games, but in the home games and the day games, like the day games, his ERA is 7.99 in 7 games. His ERA at night, 3.16. You want to talk about Jekyll and Hyde? I give you Ben Brown. Start him at night this week. More FSP right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We don't want you playing here. Can you move positions? Do something else. He starts the season like 0 for 150, it felt like, and finally finds himself in a groove at the plate, hitting 272. 15 home runs on the season? Now he's shipped to San Francisco.
What is management going to do? Nobody who's paying you $313.5 million is going to hear anything from you. They'll figure out a way to get rid of you, and that's exactly what they did.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today. My name's Matt Stryker. His name's Joe Pisapia. He is the author of the Fantasy Black Book. It's time now to look at the FST's most dropped. A couple of usual suspects here on the list. But Joe, I'll let you get yourself to this, but you were in the middle of this rant, and I think it should be brought forward. And folks at SportsGrid TV, keep the conversation going about Keith Hernandez and his lack of presence in the Hall of Fame. And Joe is going on and on about Keith Hernandez being such a defensive stalwart at the position. I grew up in the shadow of Shea Stadium, watched Keith Hernandez more times than I care to admit. And I agree with you, Joe. But there's got to be a reason that a guy like Keith Hernandez is kept out when you say a guy like Ozzie Smith is in.
Yeah, well, I think metrically we always think of first baseman as like, oh, they got to be sluggers, right? They got to, but that's not every profile. And especially a guy who played on those early 80s Cardinals teams that was not the profile of that team. That's not how they won. You know that better than anybody, right? So he got an MVP. He's got 2 championships. He's got a career 300 batting average. Like, he wasn't a home run hitter. Okay, he's the greatest defensive player. Mazeroski is a great defensive player. He's in the Hall of Fame, voted by his peers. Ozzie Smith. I think Omar Vizquel should be in the Hall of Fame. I just think you can help your team a lot by being a really good hitter and being a well above average defensive player. I mean, it's one of those things too. I never understood why Jim Edmonds was one and done on the ballot. Jim Edmonds is one of the greatest defensive center fielders I've ever seen. And he's got 300 home runs. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. He was one and done on the ballot? Like, I don't care what kind of a jerk you are. Like, and maybe he was a massive one. And I know Hernandez had the cocaine thing and it was a little messy there, but I mean, come on, man. Like, let's not like pick apart some of the transgressions of these guys. Let's talk about what they did on the field. And Jim Edmonds is another one. I just never understood that one. I mean, that guy, if I ask you give me a center fielder to go and get one, it's Jim Edmonds.
Jim Edmonds, Andrew Jones. Yeah, no, I'm with you, especially in the time frame we grew up. And I will just tag it with this. If Keith Hernandez, then Don Mattingly. And I think the argument can be made back and forth.
No problem with that.
I just said, keep the conversation going on social media. Let's talk most dropped here, and let's go to Minnesota. Hey, it's not Byron Buxton. It's fill in the blank, Joe.
It's Royce Lewis. Byron Buxton's been playing this year, which has been great for the Twins. One of the I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's been fun.
Right.
I'm going to depress you further because we can make all the jokes about Royce Lewis never playing and all that. We can do that forever and ever. The depressing part is if you look at Baseball Reference, where they do that fun thing where they show you what 162 average game season looks like for this player. The average season at 162 games for Royce Lewis looks like 81 runs scored, 101 RBI, 31 home runs with a 788 OPS. So a little lower in the OPS, but still, like that's a player that I want to play baseball.
Yeah, I want to see that happen.
I think the Twins at a certain point have to say to themselves, when is the experiment over? And to that point, we're going to talk about a player you should add on the Twins who's been playing a lot, especially with Royce Lewis not playing. And I just think at a certain point, as a fantasy term for Royce Lewis, as a real life baseball thing for the Twins, I think they need to go a different direction next year. You just got to move past this, unfortunately. And it sucks, but you just have to.
Yeah, no, I hear you. There is no way to sugarcoat it. All right, now the Athletics were exciting for a while. Now I think statistically they can't find a way back into any kind of contention, and thus a lot of their players start to lose value. There's a pitcher that is amongst the most dropped. Is there any value at all in the Athletics outside of Nick Kurtz? Jacob Wilson?
Well, Nick Kurtz, Brent Rooker. I still think Butler's got, I want that hot girl summer from Lawrence Butler again, like last year. That's what I want. I want that. I want to have him hitting, 14 home runs in a month. Like, can we get that? That'd be so much fun. But when it comes to the Athletics, I'm going to take an L on this one because they've been terrible. I thought Severino and Springs could be guys that could be good enough in that rotation. They would hit enough, but they're just a very streaky team. I will say this. When you look at the last starts for Springs, I think this is an error. 6 innings, 3 earned against the Angels, right? 8 strikeouts, no walks. Against the Royals, 6 innings, 2 earned, just 2 strikeouts. Okay, but again, pretty good. Got no decision there. He took a loss in that game against the Angels, by the way, where he struck out 8 and gave up had a quality start. And then recent start, a 620, he got a win, 7 1/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 earned run. I think Springs is actually a guy you should pick up on the waiver wire. Somebody dropped him because I think there's an error here that people have just kind of lost patience and just get, I can't do it anymore. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Pitchers are dropping like flies, man. You need depth. And if Springs is a guy that can give you depth, I would stash him and put him on my bench for sure. And as we turn the page to some more deals, there's some veterans out there that could be had for less than you realize. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Big Bat in Texas that could be available in a trade and what it might take to get him in fantasy.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today. It's time now for FST Buy Low, Sell High, where Joe and I dive deeply into the strategy of maximizing value when it comes to trades. Joe, you have a buy low candidate here. I mean, gosh, I just feel like it's fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I'm just off of actually two of these Texas players, one being Marcus Semien, the other here being Corey Seager. But you're saying Corey Seager's a buy low candidate, so persuade me.
Well, I told you to buy low on Marcus Semien, and he's certainly turned things around the last couple of weeks. So, look, there's a certain point, and it was the same principle here, which is called price enforcing, which is a player better than he's been? And if the answer inevitably is yes, then you take a shot. And Corey Seager is one of those guys. Even this week, it's kind of underwhelming when you look at the numbers in the last 7 days for Corey Seager. He's, hitting around 200. But if you look at the 3-year average, Corey Seager, 3-year average, 131 games, which to Matt's point, you got to bake that in, right? But he's already had his IL stint, or at least one of them. But his average 3-year season is 32 home runs, 84 RBI, a 280 batting average, a 350 OBP, and a 522 slugging. Now, just to kind of compare those numbers, right? He's hitting 240 right now with a 323 OBP and a 398 slugging. Now, that's not Corey Seager, right? So eventually, Corey Seager is going to pick things up and get hot, just like Marcus Semien. Guys play to the back of the baseball card. He's not 37 years old. He is 31. He's still in his prime. It's just been a bad season so far with injuries for Corey Seager, which has happened before. And then Corey Seager gets hot and then he carries a team. So I think what you got to look for right now is Corey Seager is on pace this year to have 14 home runs and 33 RBI. I don't think there's a universe where we look up and that's where we look at. Like, that's not happening, right? So we're going to get past that stage. So now's the time you buy. And to the point I'm making too, your sentiment leading up to this, like, I've just had it with Corey Seager. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. I think a lot of fantasy managers have just had it with Corey Seager. And I think if you're a team that's poised to go make a championship run, go take a shot on Corey Seager. Because if you do and you're right, guess what? All of a sudden, you got a bat there hitting a ton at shortstop for you, who is historically a 280 kind of hitter. It's got a lot of power. So I think this is just a principle, price enforce, buy low on Seager where you can.
Quickly, yes or no, would you do Seager for O'Neal Cruz straight up?
I want Seager rest of season over Anil Cruz. I have zero chill about that. I know Cruz has the sexier, like, stolen base profile. I want the better hitter in the better lineup, period. That's a good question.
All right, we actually stay with the Pirates, and now let's talk some starting pitching here. Mitch Keller is the next buy low candidate here. Again, you got to convince me.
Okay. He's 0-8 while giving up 2 or 3 runs this season and 1-10 on the season, but he is tied for the league lead in quality starts. The league lead in quality starts. Now, that's got to matter somewhere, and it matters to me, and it's probably going to matter. Well, it matters in quality start leagues A, and that might be flying very under the radar. But in leagues where there's wins, right? I think that's the other thing to think about, which is he going to finish the year on the Pirates? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen at all. I think a team like the Tigers are going to come knocking. They could use some help in that rotation for sure. I think the Red Sox, after the Walker Buehler starts last couple of weeks, maybe not after this trade. I don't know, but Mitch Keller helps you immediately if you're the Red Sox. I can see the Yankees getting involved with Mitch Keller. Let's take a look at, again, the guys at the top of the board with quality starts this year. Max Fried has 12. Logan Webb has 12. Paul Skeens has 12. And then there's Mitch Keller with 11. Mitch Keller is right there with some of the biggest names. Now, he's not striking out the same amount of guys. I get it. But if you are looking for a guy who's going to go out there, give you 6 good innings, and all of a sudden finds himself on a contender, that changes things dramatically for Mitch Keller's value. But you have to do it now before the rumblings begin, because now is the time to get him on the cheap. Once you hear the rumors of, oh, he's going to the Red Sox. Oh, I heard the Tigers are interested in him. That price is going to change dramatically. Buy now while you can, as soon as you can, because eventually those quality starts on a better team are going to turn into W's.
Joe, quick hit on the likelihood scale. The Pittsburgh Pirates starting rotation of 2026 is Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, Bubba Chandler, and insert starting pitcher 5 here.
0% chance. They're crazy if they don't trade Keller.
Wow.
0.
Okay,
Keller's got to. Look, the Pirates are going nowhere, and for a team that doesn't want to spend any money to support this pitching staff, the only way they're going to do it is to trade assets. So I don't know when Jared Jones is going to be ready. Probably not till maybe towards the end of last year. The Pirates are up a creek without a paddle because they don't have enough anywhere, and they haven't surrounded Paul Skeens with enough support because they simply don't want to spend enough money. And I know that sucks to hear, but until that collective bargaining agreement happens in 2 years from now, and guess what? They're not going to do it next year too because of that CBA that's looming. So you're kind of up against it. You can only hope that they make a deal and bring in a top prospect for a Mitch Keller, and maybe they can pull something like that off and maybe pull a steal. We'll see.
Yeah, and Jones's injury timeline escaped me in that scenario, but you knew where I was going. All right, let's go to a couple of sell-high candidates. We'll stay with starting pitching. Tampa's making a run here, and Zach Littell has been a part of it. Joe, you say it's a good time to get off, huh?
It is, and it's tough because whenever a pitcher is going well, you don't want to get rid of them. And Zach Littell has been going really well, but there are some deeper underlying things with Littell that I think matter. The first thing is the strikeout rate. You want a strikeout rate to be around like 9K per 9, 8K per 9, okay, 7, like he better be awesome. It's at 5.92. It's dreadful. He doesn't strike out anybody. The other thing is, now he's getting away with it because he's not walking anybody either. The walk per 9 is at 107, which I think is a little unsustainable. Last year is at 178 for him. So I just feel like eventually the regression is going to happen here. His ERA is sitting at 3.88. Okay. His expected ERA, Matt, is 4.63. His FIP is 5.32, and his xFIP is 4.20. All that screams like regression's coming. Those numbers are going to fly up. And it's really difficult because he has been a solid contributor. But if I can flip Zach Littell in a package deal and bring back Mitch Keller rest of season, I'll take that. If I can put Zach Littell and another bat and buy low on Corey Seager, I will do that. People are desperate for pitching, but the underlying metrics, especially the strikeout rate for Littell, is really troubling. I just don't think what he's doing is sustainable. And remember, we're going to do all these road games for them, and they become road warriors. How does that take its toll on them mentally as time goes on too as well? I just think Littell is he has given you everything you can ask for off the waiver wire. Now it's time for him to give you something else in a trade.
Regression to the mean, regression to the norm. All right, we will close out this segment with an Atlanta Brave. It's Marcelo Ozuna. And Joe, you think he is a great sell high candidate. Why is that?
Well, he's got a hip issue that they're saying they're managing through. And it started to affect him a little bit recently. Now, look, the Baseball Savant page is still really good for him. I'm not trying to sell him off for nothing. But at the same time, it does bother me just a little bit. If you look at kind of the some of the deeper metrics on him, you could say, like some of these things are being held together a little bit. Marcelo Ozuna is a really good player. Sure, he benefits from Acuna's return. He's only a DH, right? But it's this hip issue that worries me. And what if the Braves start to fall out of it, right? What if they go the other direction now that Chris Sale is hurt and they really kind of sputter? Maybe Ozuna does get traded. Where does he get traded to? What's that ballpark factor? And what is that hip issue too? Does he even pass a physical? I don't know. He must, I would assume. But it just feels like a time where Marcelo Ozuna has given you a pretty good season. He's got an underlying injury, and it just scares me a little bit. I'm shopping more than I'm trying to just unload him. But I'm definitely curious if somebody wants to overpay for Marcelo Ozuna and give me a really solid bat plus, especially if I can get another pitcher of note. I'm listening to that kind of deal when it comes to Ozuna. I think that's something everybody should be as well. Now, when we turn the page from our next segment here to look at the waiver wire, there are some names out there, including a returning rookie, a rookie that just got called up, a guy that's getting a lot of playing time because Royce Lewis can't stay on the field. And there's also a young pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds who's going to make his debut on Tuesday, who is rocketing through the system. We're going to talk about Chase Burns and more when we return on FST.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. My name's Matt Stryker. His name's Joe Pisapia. And as you know, it's smarter to be on SportsGrid. At SportsGrid TV, those are our social media handles. Joey P, I feel smart being in your offensive ecosystem, just being in your sphere of influence. It's kind of like in school. Teacher would always sit me next to the smart kids, and I always thought it was because I was smart. But then when I became a teacher, I realized it's because I was dumb. and she wanted me to grow, so she sat me next to the smart kids. It's the best thing to do, and now here we are. I'm sitting next to you, and if I'm the dumb one, what does that make you? Joey P, it's time to look at the waiver wire. All jokes aside, this is where we become smart, and smart comes when it pays off. Let's go to the waiver wire here. If you're looking for an infielder, a corner infielder, Joe might just have someone for you. Take it away.
Yeah, look, I want to reiterate what we did at the top of the show. Nick Kurtz, Caglione, finally starting to pick it up again, right? Kurtz especially just been out of this world. You can see the confidence just oozing from this kid. All these walk-off home runs that he's had, bat flipping. Like, he just looks like the Nick Kurtz that I saw on tape last year coming into the draft, and the guy that I saw in the minor leagues on tape and all the highlights. So finally, we're getting that guy. But again, these are not building block guys. Some of them, Brady House, for instance, is a guy you want to stash and see what becomes of him. He has gotten the call here for the Washington Nationals. He was slashing 375, 420, 625 at AAA Rochester. That's pretty good. He had 15 straight games with a hit there. That's pretty good. Now, he's gotten the call. He's rostered in about 30% of leagues right now on CBS. So far, he's got 5 hits in 6 games. He's hitting just 217. But again, we give him time. This is about acquiring talent, acquiring assets, and then seeing how these guys eventually develop at the major league level. It takes some time. Sometimes it never happens. They get sent back down and they come back, and then it happens a second time. Sometimes it just never happens at all. So when a guy like Christian Campbell, per se, gets dropped in your league because, well, he got sent down, that's when you pick him up. Because inevitably, a guy like Christian Campbell, who they've already paid and extended, always follow the money, boys and girls. They've already paid and extended. They believe in him. He's going to go back to AAA. He's probably going to tear the cover off the ball for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even through the All-Star break and get called up again. He will be back, okay? And he'll probably be better than ever when he does get called back. So be aggressive on these rookies, but understand that they're not guys you throw right into your lineup right away. They can't have that. You have to sustain on the veterans, and those are the guys that nourish your lineup. These other guys are like the cherry on top of the sundae who take you over the top. And House could be one of those guys. I think the Nats are interested to see, and they will give him a long time because the Nats are not competing this year. They want to evaluate all the kids for better or worse. So House is the next one they're going to evaluate.
All right, let's continue to evaluate the waiver wire. Joe, that was a great lesson about trying to find these young players, but not investing everything in them, because if they do collapse or have holes in their swing or need time to figure it out, that's going to affect your team as well. What can you speak to about chasing a park factor player? We have a Colorado Rocky who was sent down, like you were talking about. Now he's back up, but it's the building in which he plays that makes him attractive, or is there a bit more?
It makes him attractive because it's free now. And I did not like the cost of Michael Toglia. I didn't necessarily buy in. He's a guy with great power, but also a lot of strikeouts. And inevitably, those strikeouts caught up with him, and he got sent down. Now, here we go. It's a perfect example of that story, right? He got sent down, got dropped in a ton of leagues. Now, all of a sudden, he's rostered in, let's see, about 25% of leagues currently right now as of this morning on CBS. So it's gone up a little bit from the 17 earlier on Friday. But it's gone up because he was great at AAA, seems to have figured things out a little bit. And now, if you look at what he's done over the last 7 games since being recalled, 3 homers, right? 6 RBI. And on top of that, even has a stolen base. He's hitting 287 over that span. Now, he still strikes out, right? He's still got 9 strikeouts over the 7 games. We know he's always going to strike out. So in points leagues, he's going to hurt you there. But if you are looking for some power, right, Toglia can give it to you. At best, I think he's probably a 245, 250 kind of hitter. But if he can hit that range and give you solid power, I think you'll take that trade-off. The question is, can he sustain the power? And I think the answer is yes. And now it costs you very little to find out. You can throw a couple bucks at Toglia and see if he's a guy that can help you get your corner spots. And I think in those mixed leagues he can, because of the ballpark factor and because of the fact that he got more time at AAA to kind of figure out the nuances a little bit. I don't think he's going to change his profile all that much, but I do want to chase the power, and I think it's worthy now that he's getting that second time around, and I think that's something to pay attention to because typically it tends to stick the second time around.
All right, great advice as always from Joey P. Let's continue on in this FST waiver wire segment. And let's go to Minnesota, a guy with a great baseball name, but hopefully an even better baseball pedigree. We're talking about Brooks Lee. He's available in 7 out of 10 leagues. Joe, talk him up.
Yeah, Brooks Lee is a guy that, depending on your league qualifications, qualifies at second, third, short. He's been playing everywhere for the Twins. Over 60 games this year. He has 7 home runs, 27 RBI. He does have 46 strikeouts, but not too bad in 60 games. It's not the worst. He's got 262 batting average, and Brooks Lee is a player that I think is just right now contributing. I don't think he is a game changer, league winner kind of guy. But if you have some guys who are struggling in the infield right now, Brooks Lee can be a temporary Band-Aid potentially. Now, the last week has been a little quiet for him. I think the Twins are trying to find themselves a little bit, but I think that Brooks Lee is a player worth at least speculating on. He's rostered in about 27% of leagues currently. That's a spot where I think it could go up if he continues to hit. And he had a pretty good minor league profile. This could be what you're seeing is a guy who could develop into a nice kind of solid major league player. And that's useful, especially when you factor in the different qualifications that he has at different eligibility positions.
All right, and last but not least, don't worry, we hear you out there. We are going to talk starting pitching here with the last minute left in this segment. Joey P, let's go to Boston. While everyone is talking, hey, they got Kyle Harrison, or hey, Lucas Giolito's looking really good. Here's the name that smart people are on. Who's it, Joe?
Well, look, Hunter Dobbins got blown up a little bit yesterday, but I still like what I've seen so far out of him this year. Over 10 starts, he's 4-1, 59 innings, he's given up 59 hits, he's got 43 strikeouts over that time and 16 walks. ERA is about league average of 4, 1.26. I don't think anything is going to go away here for Hunter Dobbins anytime soon. That being said, Emmett Sheehan, who just got sent down for the Dodgers, is also a pitching stash this week. I think Kyle Harrison, who you mentioned, is also a stash who came over in that Devers trade. And one more guy, too, Chase Burns, who has just been dominant in the minor leagues for the Reds. Chase Burns went from AA to AAA. He was killing guys at AAA. He's going to make his debut Tuesday. Pick him up now and stash him in case he's electric. Because if so, you wait. Next week is going to cost you twice as much. We'll be right back. Finish out FST when we return.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, folks, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports. Today, Matt and Joe with you here, and it's been an absolutely great time. And the party isn't over yet. Stick around for more great SportsGrid programming with an eclectic array of hosts and all their different personalities. It's wonderful. It truly is. Joey P, 3 things that Joe's going to be looking forward to this week. So when these things happen, we can think of Joe during the week, send him our good vibes, and then we reconvene here next Sunday, and all is well in the world. Joe, some things that are sticking out to you. What's on your mind?
Well, I want to keep a close eye on this Mets rotation, not just because of selfish reasons, but because of fantasy reasons. They've been pretty great this year, but eventually we knew it was going to marginalize a bit. Is the health that really starting to get concerning. Now, again, you're going to get Shamanai returning soon. That's good. That's very good. Another big-time left-handed starter who was brilliant last year for the Mets. Montas, I am not looking forward to. I don't know why we're doing this.
I don't know either. Why would we be doing this? But I guess the universe.
I don't know.
Here he comes. Come on back, Joe. What do you got to say?
No, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a contractual thing. I don't know if they just morbid curiosity. But no. I mean, want to look at morbid? You want to talk about morbid? Look at the lines for Frankie Montas. Getting up 8 home runs in just 3 starts at minor league rehab. But what are we doing here? So the Mets might be in the market for a starting pitcher. The question is, who's dropping out of the race and who has a big one to trade? That's the trickier spot right now because the expanded playoffs don't give you a lot. So the Marlins, Edward Cabrera is another guy too. Watch Edward Cabrera very carefully. We all talk about Sandy Alcantara. Cabrera's pitched very well. I would love to see what a team like the Mets could get out of a guy like Cabrera too, that weird pitching factory that they've put together. The Scherzer return, I'm looking at carefully. Reevaluation today. Could be available in your leagues. People in shallow leagues, people might have, dropped him, not been able to keep him depending on IL spots. So here we are. It's the 22nd of June, and we're still waiting for Max Scherzer. I think Max Scherzer should hang it up. I think he's been stealing money from the Rangers, the Mets, and the Blue Jays for the last 3 years, personally. He hasn't pitched a whole lot, but he keeps telling everybody that he's still great, and maybe he is. He's just not on the field. And then the other thing to keep an eye on is the Phillies closer job. Jose Alvarado got suspended, and then after that, we kind of turned back to Jordan Romano, and he doesn't seem great. Orion Kirkering has been the guy lately, and he's the one to speculate right now on saves, because if you're looking for some save help, he could be a guy that can help you. But I keep coming back to the same thing, Matt. You asked me before about the Phillies and the playoffs and what that looks like. You're not going to have Alvarado in the playoffs. The Phillies are going to have to go out and get more help in that closer role. So the question is, where does it come from? And how do you feel about that Phillies bullpen, which is undoubtedly every single year their weak spot, and every year they're undoing in the playoffs?
Yeah. No, it's exactly what it is. When you know your opponent, I come from a fighting background. When you know your opponent, you know their nuances. Hey, I know that Johnny tends to lean forward when he throws his right hand. So when I fight him, an overhand right might be there for me. When you look at a team like the Phillies, you're 1,000% right. If you could stay with them by the time it gets to the 6th or the 7th, you could chase their starter. They are vulnerable. Do I think a team like the Athletics would deal with a guy like a Mason Miller? I can't speak to that. You look at a team like the Pirates, or you look at a team like Miami or the White Sox, even there isn't really a name out there that makes you go, whoa, they acquired him. Like, I'll return serve to you, Joe. Out of all the teams that are seemingly out of it, is there a closer that the Phillies got them as a Met fan? You would say, I'm nervous?
Nervous? That's an interesting one. Trying to think of where it would come from, too. I think that's the hard part. You know what? There's one, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Mason Miller. Because Mason Miller's got a live arm. If the Athletics,
nobody else around.
If the Athletics said, you know what, Mason Miller is more valuable to somebody else, and we can find somebody else to cover the 9th inning, that's a name that I never even thought of to right now. But in terms of nervous, that would be the one, because that guy can be lights out. I know he's had a rough month here, but I expect him to be back to being normal. But it's fascinating, Matt, because you're in a spot here with these teams, right, where you're looking as like, well, they're not playing well, but they're only 3 games out of the wild card or 5 games out of the wild card. You can't sell it to your fan base, right? You're out of it in June and maybe even mid-July, depending on if you're hanging around. That's what makes this trade deadline really tricky, don't you think?
Absolutely. And what I like to do before I look at my slate for wagering, first thing actually I'll do is I'll look at all the starting pitching, I'll look at the handedness, but then I'll look at the wild card race, and I'll look at teams that are playing for something. I'll also look for teams that I know, well, to me, my threshold's 5.5, 6 games. That's pretty much, if you're beyond that, you're out of it. But this is some things you really need to start to look for, and finding a closer in a team's back end of a bullpen, that really matters in those late innings, Joe. Great show as always.
Yes, fun baseball today. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Matt, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.